coming out. We all know why we're here. Massachusetts' direction is poor, and we have to do better. As Patrick said, I've been involved in politics now actively for about 6 years. I've always paid attention, and I started out by going to the Medford Republican City Committee meeting, Greater Boston Tea Party meetings, and the Medford City Council meetings. And the more I learned by watching what's going on, the more I found out that government is self-serving, and we need an army of people to get out there and get up off their couch. New names, new faces. I'm a former teacher in Massachusetts. I'm a veteran of the Army Reserves, and I currently work in the medical device industry. So seeing what's going on in our nation, somebody has to come up and speak up and out on these issues and challenge folks like the woman I'm challenging, Patricia Jalen of Somerville. People I spoke to that know her, she's a very, very nice woman. I don't want to make this campaign negative at all. But she voted for, as Michael said, she never met a tax she didn't like. The gas tax, the sales tax, the automatic gas tax, the cigarette tax, the alcohol tax, the income tax. When it came time to vote to make just 2 days out of the year a sales tax holiday, she voted no on it. Out of touch with the people. 2012, there was a bill on her desk that boiled down to the question, should habitual violent offenders serve their full sentence? To me, that's a no-brainer. Of course they should. She voted no on it for some reason. I can't wait. I hope she accepts a challenge to a debate, because I have to find out why she voted the way she voted on that bill. I am for limited government, less tax, like the Massachusetts and the United States Constitution. I will, oh, you can't hear me in the back. Being a former teacher, I'm opposed to Common Core. Being a veteran of the Army Reserves, we need to relax rules on the availability and affordability for young women to be able to buy mace and pepper sprays. We need to relax those restrictions, because over the last few years, sexual assaults on young women have increased by 40%. We are now the highest tax state per capita out of the 56 other states under Obama. They're spending $2.041 billion a year on things like Evergreen Solar, which is now in China with 30+ million of our dollars. $9 million for the governor's office. They just approved another $20 million for the State House renovation, but aid to local cities and towns is being cut. The one-party rule on Beacon Hill is completely out of touch with everyday folks. We need new faces. We need to change Beacon Hill for the better. We have to change Beacon Hill. We have to do better. I left some cards and some paperwork out there. If you take a look, you can look me up. It's www.votecappucci.com. I got a couple events coming up. August 24th, I'll be at Carol's Restaurant in Medford. It's a Sunday morning, 10 to 12. Please come out if you can. We need an army of volunteers. Unfortunately, money wins races, so if you can look me up and give a small donation, that would be great. But letters to editors, talking to friends and family, calling in to talk radio, and to me, the best donation you can give is a prayer. Say a prayer, because I think God is involved. I do go to church every Sunday. I'm a big believer in God, and I think He's made a calling to a lot of people that have never gotten involved in politics before to get up and run, because our nation is going in a very, very bad direction. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, everybody, for coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody have any questions for Rob? I'll ask one of the two standard questions. How is Scott Brown doing in district in 2010 and 2012?
In 2010, he did a lot better than he did in 2012. In 2012, In 2012, he got about 24% of the vote, whereas
2010.
Elizabeth Warren got like 68% of the vote. In
Okay.
2010, he didn't really do that much better. He did maybe, I think it was 30%, a little bit more than 30%.
Okay. So what you're saying is a tough district.
Oh yeah, it's a very tough district. The second Middlesex that I'm running in, it's Medford, Somerville, wards 9, 10, and 11 in Cambridge, and 4 wards in Winchester. Somerville is the least enrolled Republican town in the whole state. It's much worse than Cambridge. It has folks like Curtatone, Capuano, who announced... Yeah. Remember we went to that counter protest in the unions during Scott Walker?
We remember.
Marty Ham down on the street.
Sometimes you gotta get a little bloody.
Sometimes, and we're standing there like, what did he just say? In a sea of union vote. Just irresponsible. Just irresponsible. Part of the reason why I got up to run. But the district is small. I just ran for city council in Medford. I spent $94 and change. I got 2,311 votes. I go to the city council meetings every Tuesday night. I have excellent name recognition in Medford. If I can win Medford, take part of Somerville, and get the people out in Winchester to vote, I'm going to take this seat. I have every confidence I'm going to win this seat, and we're going to retire Pat Jagan, who's been up there since 1983. I was 13 years old in 1983. I just turned 44.
I wasn't even born.
Just as an FYI,
Sounds close.
FYI, Mass Fiscal Alliance gives Patricia Jalen a 9% rating. 9%. At least this predicted version of your...
The problem with Somerville is that it went from being a conservative Democrat town to being working class Democrat town to being a left liberal Democrat town, whereas, for instance, Cambridge went from being a moderate Republican town to a elitist Democrat town. And when you have Republicans in Somerville, and I knew this for years ago, they tended to be students that only a couple of years before were in Cambridge, and they moved out of Cambridge. But they probably, the ones that I knew, are gone now. The Republicans are probably the most transient part of the city, but that means there are probably more of them than you would guess. They're just not. They're not identified.
The old school Reagan Democrats do not like this woman. A school committee member in Medford came up to me at Carol's Restaurant in Medford a couple weeks ago. Democrat, 55 years old. Said, Robert, get me a bumper sticker. Let me know when your next event is, because you've got to beat this commie expletive. Michael, first, had a question?
Yeah, so my state senator, who out in my way is Karen Spilka, is always sending me these emails about how wonderful she is because she's bringing money back to the district. But what she's not getting is, I don't want the money to leave the district in the first place. You know, rather than paying these exorbitant taxes to Beacon Hill and then hoping they throw some of it back, I'd rather, you know, have lower tax go to Beacon Hill and possibly even pay a higher local tax, so, you know, locally controlled. How do we change that?
In Massachusetts, it's going to be tough. We've got to elect as many Republicans as possible. We've got to clearly articulate the message of reducing taxes actually causes tax collections to go up. I want to create more taxpayers as opposed to creating more taxes. We got the models out there. Governor Walker in Wisconsin is the blueprint. It's really not rocket science. We bring down the sales tax, we bring down the property tax. Michael Collin just posted on Facebook a list of regulations and fees. This restaurant right here has to pay $185 for that widescreen TV. Is that over 27 inches? Because there's another fee on top of that. We have to articulate what conservatism is in terms of the fiscal side of it, and show these legislatures and the people that when we bring down the tax rates and we bring down regulations, and we make Massachusetts more business friendly, then we will not be 7th on the list of most moved out of states, which we are right now. We'll actually attract families and businesses to move here. More people working, unleash the private sector. Those revenues will go up. They're not revenues, I don't want to candy coat it. The tax collected will go up, and then we will have more money to stay in town. Medford is a town of 58,000, my hometown. We have 101 police officers. We need 140 for a town that size. The police station's falling apart. So it's going to be my job in this race, and for all Republicans, to bring the argument home to the people that reducing taxes and reducing regulations will actually cause taxes collected to go up, and then we can use that to pay down the huge debt that Massachusetts have. We can use that for the bridge and road repairs. We can use that for education. We can use that for protection with police and firefighters. But thank you very much for that question. Austin?
How would you could spell out your website again?
www.votecappucci. It's just like cappuccino without the no at the end. CAPPUCCI.com. And I'm also on Facebook as well. Did you have a question?
I'm out of the country a lot, so I don't know a lot about all the details. What I do know is that if you sell a property in Somerville, or I suppose in Massachusetts, you get hit with all kinds of taxes, including Obama's now 3.8% on investments. What I'm thinking is you're talking about the individual taxes, and it makes a lot of sense what you're saying. But you're saying the Republicans have to tell the people that the taxes, if they go down, they collect blah blah, and that's true. However, I think the moral argument, if it's taken to a different level, and say, do we really want the state to be the pinnacle of power? Do we really want the concentration of regulatory and even moral power, as it appears to be now, across the country, being concentrated in the state? Do people ever think about the lack of freedom, the lack of free speech, the increase in political correctness nonsense? All of this has got to do, and of course taxes are a good beginning there, all of this has to do with the, I would say, very fascist concentration of power in the state and within the leadership. And so taking it to a different level, talking about the details, of course, but also taking it to a level of absolute freedom. And do we want a powerful state like this, a concentration of power like that, where they have so much power, they have so much control?
Well, no, that's why I said in the beginning of my presentation that the more I got active in politics, the more I saw government was self-serving.
Yeah.
Now, Massachusetts is a difficult state for Republicans because we run against what's known as the machine. And the machine is the Democrats that are in power have the media, the Boston Globe, Ed Harding, and the public unions. This woman I'm challenging, Pat Jalen, the old school Democrats don't like her. She wasn't challenged in 2012. A guy named David Carnevale challenged her unsuccessfully, unfortunately, in 2010. But what the main reason for her success of getting reelected is the public unions. If you go to a website called Project Vote Smart, it lists her voting record, but it also lists her donations and where they came from. And it's just a long list of the unions in Massachusetts. So I couldn't agree more that the state is being served and the people are not. The people are not, in terms of taxes, in terms of a moral code and a moral fiber. And I'm very passionate about it, and it's very frustrating. And I'm out there knocking on doors, I'm calling people, and I'm getting people to join my campaign to bring that very message to them, that government is just too powerful and just too strong in Massachusetts, and we've got to reduce the size and scope of government and empower the people. John Kerry, the other day, of all people, said something about empowering people, and I'm like, what is he talking about? What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? And it's these election years, Republicans have a really good year this year. When the website for Obamacare failed, a lot of people that don't normally pay attention to politics stuck their face in the pond to see what fish are swimming. And these are the things that they're seeing. Government is self-serving. The problems at DCF, the taxes we're paying, people moving out of the state. People are engaged right now, and we really need to keep hammering the Democrats on their failed policies, on their words, and on their action or lack thereof. I'm getting really good responses. I'm having a blast going all around my district and even doing events outside my district. I'm on the Republican State Committee right now, and a fellow state committee man my birthday was last Tuesday, and he had a campaign birthday bash for me. Took in a lot of money. 80 people showed up, not even in the district. And it was great because a lot of volunteers came too, so I got a good list of people to ask for help. But thank you very much for that question. I couldn't agree more. The state's too big, the state's too powerful. I mean, look at some of the things what was the sales tax a few years ago? A petition by the people was put out there. We got it on the ballot to reduce the sales tax or keep it the same, and it passed. The State House passed it anyway. They raised it to $6.20. I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that if you don't have the unions and the media as your campaign team? They're much too powerful. When you can raise the sales tax anyway, even though the people worked to get it on the ballot, and it passed on the ballot, but you still raise it, that's a problem. That government has a problem. And I'm 10 years old when Reagan was elected. I was 18 when he left office. Government is not the solution. Government is the problem. No question about it. Thank you very much for that question. Anybody else?
Well, you say you're knocking on doors. How many doors have you knocked on so far, would you say?
Well, I went out for 2 or 3 weekends with Mike Coward in Wards 9, 10, and 11. We did a couple hundred there. And on Saturday, I did 52 in Medford.
That's good.
Yeah.
What would you say, you're talking to people, what is the number one thing you say to people to try and convince you to, maybe somebody who's been a Democrat for a number of years, to vote for a Republican this time around?
Well,
what's your best quick argument on that?
The taxes that we're paying in Massachusetts. Our tax rates are too high. Property rates in Medford tax rates have gone up for 27 consecutive years. And to be honest with you, the Democrats that I'm talking to, they're giving me the reasons to vote. All the people I spoke to on Saturday, only one person. One of the questions I'm asking people is, do you believe illegal aliens should get in-state tuition and driver's license? Both pieces of legislation, the woman I'm challenging was a sponsor of. She wrote it. And only one person that I spoke to on Saturday said yes. Everybody else was like, no. No, of course not. But health care and taxes and the regulations, those are the biggest things, and protection too.
I would just a suggestion. I'd say one-party rule can be argued against as well, because everything else, a lot of things follow from that. The fact that they shut down debate on EBT reform, they couldn't make any amendments to the budget process by saying, Speaker DeLeo is able to say, I'm ruling with an iron fist. This is the only things that go in the jar. You cannot talk about welfare reform, EBT reform. You can't talk about amending this, amending that. Having the capability to shut off debate. The problem with the DCF didn't get any more traction until there were a couple of dead children, literally. The fact that that woman needed to go, Olga, whatever her last name was, that she needed to go, that, there's so many abuses that just go on that are unanswerable just because there is one-party rule. That is something I think that might...
That is one of my biggest proponents, and I thank you for bringing it up. It's an argument that has no counter-argument, really. We've had a State House and a State Senate run a lot longer than I've been alive, and when you tell people that we need balance of power on Beacon Hill, when I worked for Richard Ross, he's a state senator now out of Rentham. He actually holds Scott Brown's old seat in the Massachusetts State Senate. When I was making phone calls to him It was the one thing that nobody on the other end of that line could disagree with. We definitely need to balance power on Beacon Hill. We have to do better for Massachusetts. There's no question about it. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, everybody.